This is Daniel John Lee with Torah Restoration Ministries. It is Friday night, February 28th, 2014. It is now the 29th day of the 11th Hebrew month. This is the last day of the 11th Hebrew month. The new moon begins as the Shabbat ends tomorrow night, Saturday night, March 1st, going into March 2nd. And we are now only T-minus 11 days away from the Abomination of Desolation, which will occur on March 11th, 2014. And what would you be expecting to happen 11 days now prior to the Abomination of Desolation? Well, of course, most of you already know what's going on with Ukraine. Russia has invaded Ukraine as of today, and Obama's been sort of making these threats. But this story, which is just now 34 minutes old, in fact, it's even has a date of March 1st because it was published on the other side of the world. U.S. demands urgent action on Ukraine crisis, an emergency UN meeting. The United Nations Security Council has held an emergency meeting to discuss the escalating crisis in Ukraine, with the United States demanding urgent mediation and Russian troops to pull back. Friday's urgent meeting in New York came as Russia flew more troops into Crimea, where it already has a major military base, and Ukraine's ousted president resurfaced in Russia, insisting he had not been overthrown. Amid fears key world leaders could skip June's G8 summit in Sochi, the talks broke up without a formal statement, leaving the U.S., British, Russian, and Lithuanian ambassadors to make separate statements to the press. So, they've held an emergency UN security meeting. The United States is pushing now for military intervention into Ukraine based off what's going on. Folks, this is not just some rehash of a Cold War scenario. This is the beginning of a very hot war. And this is exactly the type of thing that I would expect to be happening when we're now only 11 days out from the Abomination of Desolation. March 11th, 2014. That's exactly 1,290 days prior to Yom Teruah 2017. We're not at the very beginning of the 7 years. Okay, the 7-year, Yahshua confirmed the covenant with many back in 2010. Okay, that's what Daniel 9, chapter 9 is all about. We are now about to hit the midpoint of the tribulation, in which the Abomination of Desolation is going to occur. Has nothing to do with some boogeyman entering into a physical temple. It has to do with a very satanic spirit that's going to be unleashed on March 11th. And the son of perdition, the Antichrist, is going to emerge, going to come out of this war that we're now seeing the opening stages of right here, with Ukraine being the center point between Russia and the West, the United States and NATO. This is not just like a little proxy war that was going on in Syria. This is major, and this is exactly the type of thing that I would see, that I would expect to be happening just 11 days prior to the Abomination of Desolation. This is it. We're seeing these things begin to all come together. Of course, we know that tensions are still very, very high in Syria. We know that things are going on between China and Japan with the disputing of the islands that they've been doing. We know that Iran is continuing its ambitions of developing nuclear weapons, and that Israel is going to be forced to strike them. Everything is set to go, and here we have now, as if that wasn't enough. Now we have this situation with Ukraine, which I'm expecting this to go very, very hot very, very soon, as now we're only 11 days out from March 11th. I'm expecting that nothing serious is going to happen in the next several days. We have the new moon happening again on Sunday, beginning Saturday night, tomorrow night at the end of Shabbat. That'll be the 12th new moon, the final month before the new year. And we're going to see things just sort of slowly start to build and bubble up, and a lot of rhetoric going back and forth. But then I think right before we hit March 11th, we're going to see something global and worldwide. I think it's going to be a world war that's going to rip out and envelop the world. And out of the ash and smoke of this world war, we're going to see the son of perdition emerge. This is what I've been talking about for years now, and now here we are, only 11 days until March 11th, 2014, the day that I believe the Abomination of Desolation must happen. Here we go, folks. Here we go. It is time to plead the blood of Yahshua over yourself. It is time to press into his Torah. It is time to love him with everything in you. This is it. This is it. And you're not going to have the internet. You're not going to have websites. You're not going to have people to go to anymore on the internet. If you're not right with Yah, then you're going to get swept away in what's about to happen. So if you're not right with Yahshua, if you've not gotten all the sin out of your life, if you're not pressing in with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, it's time to do so. This is Daniel John Lee with Torah Restoration Ministries on this final and last Shabbat of the 11th Hebrew month. Shabbat Shalom.